Hello and welcome to the Paul Green Comedy PaulCast. This is for June 28th, 2024, episode 212. June 28th happens to be the date of my birth. That's right. Yesterday was my birthday, and I had a very cool, chill day. A friend of mine from Las Vegas happened to be in town, and she and I got to hang out for a little bit in the afternoon. She was in town for a comedy show. She's a comedian as well, and that was just really fun getting to hang with her, talking shop, talking comedy, talking life, talking dreams, talking missteps and frustrations and victories and overcoming and all of that stuff. We had a great time. And in the afternoon, I also did an escape room with her, and my brother came out, and we did an escape room that was all Batman themed. Hello, I'm Batman. And I am pleased to report that we were victorious. That's right. We did escape the Batman Gotham City prison thing or whatever it was. But yeah, it was really fun. Had a great time. And I'll tell you, it's the old birthdays that just put you in that state of reflection and that state of what the heck has happened this last year and where do I want to go from here, and been obviously thinking a lot about that. And when I think about where I was at last year I really had a pretty significant shift in my overall approach to comedy. What really sparked that was I was listening to a podcast and Bert Kreischer was on it. I don't remember what the podcast was or how I even came across it. But it's not like I don't actually listen to like a ton of podcasts. I'll listen to like Bill Burr's podcast every once in a while. Bill Burr rarely has guests on his. And there's not like I don't really listen to like Joe Rogan's podcast on a regular basis. Maybe every once in a while I'll see something pop on TikTok where he had a certain guest and I go, oh, that guest seems interesting. Maybe I'll pop over to the episode or whatever. But I don't exactly know how this Bert Kreischer podcast, how I even knew to go listen to it. But I did. And when I was listening to it, he started talking about how he realized how important it was to just promote the heck out of shows. And that he really started taking the promotional side of his comedy shows. And then it became a bit of a challenge and a game for him to go, okay, we can now sell X amount of tickets. We can sell 5 shows in a weekend with 200 seats. And then it was like, well, can we sell 5 shows in a weekend at 1,000 seats? Or, like that sort of thing. Just sort of looking at the incremental growth of his capacity really to sell tickets. And when I listened to that, it really caused an internal shift within me when I just realized, like, yes, that's actually the game that I'm in. And I think that might be a challenge for a lot of comics. It was probably a challenge for me maybe earlier in my life to realize that that's actually the name of the game, is being able to promote and sell tickets to shows. And I've talked about this a handful of times, that if you are not able to sell tickets to a show, meaning somebody else has to sell tickets to a show and then hire you to be on the show for which they have sold the tickets, that it creates a fairly low ceiling of success if you're not a draw or if you're not able to understand how to promote and market shows. So that podcast really was a turning point for me, and I made a determination that I was going to be a lot more vigilant on promoting shows. It's like I'm going to be creating Facebook events for all my shows and create flyers, make sure that I'm posting them on social media, letting people know where I'm going to be. I even started boosting like Facebook posts and like Facebook events, like spending money to boost those posts, even on shows that I wasn't getting paid for. But I just went, heck, I'm going to be at this show. I'm going to let people know and I'm going to boost it. And I'm going to do my best to support any show that I'm a part of. Because I just looked at it, well, what's more valuable to a booker? A comedian who just shows up and does his time and leaves, or a comedian who is actively trying to make the promoter's life easier by getting butts in seats and getting people to buy tickets. So that was a pretty significant shift around this time a year ago. And one very significant thing that happened was I had a very big show coming up at the Vail Center for the Arts, which is a theater down in Tucson. And I perform there every year. The booker there, he and I have a great relationship, and he'll book me to headline again on a yearly basis. And whenever I do the show down there, this theater has almost 600 seats in it. However, the shows would end up selling maybe 100, if it was a good one, maybe 80 to 100 tickets. So I would do the show in this theater, and although there's 100 people there, which is actually quite a few people for a comedy show, in a 600-seat venue, it felt vacant. And I had this idea of, like, what if I could learn how to promote and sell tickets to my own comedy show? And that caused me to launch into this massive marketing campaign for that comedy show. So the show was going to be in November, and I started marketing this show like June and July. And I hired 2 people. I hired a social media guy, and then I hired a digital marketing person. And I started spending thousands of dollars throughout the next few months on Facebook ads, on, contract labor. I printed out 5,000 flyers, created landing pages, QR codes. I started driving down to Tucson. I was attending these like small business networking meetings at like the Chamber of Commerce, and was advertising the show there and trying to get like sponsorships and do all of that stuff. And I was on a radio show. I did a podcast down there. I had a news article written up about me, all advertising the show. I printed out 5,000 flyers, and there's like a Walmart right up the street from the venue, so I went and would just blanket the Walmart parking lot, just putting flyers in windshields, get people yelling at me and, all of that stuff. So it was a massive effort. I spent thousands and thousands of dollars. And for all of that effort, I sold about 60 tickets myself. and I ended up losing thousands and thousands of dollars. Now, overall, the show was great, and the producer really pushed that show hard, too. He was really trying to get a big audience for me as well. So overall, we had almost 200 people. We pretty much filled the whole bottom part of the theater. So that was still incredible, but, financially, it was pretty devastating. And, I learned a lot, and it taught me a lot. And it was just an indicator to me that, all right, if I'm going to sell tickets, I need to figure out something else, because there's no way that this is a sustainable way to make this work. And man, that was a year ago. And fast forward till now, and I'm still in that same game of how can I sell tickets? How can I promote shows? The difference is I'm now, instead of promoting just the Paul Green comedy show, I'm now very heavily promoting the Midlife Crisis comedy show. And in fact, the booker had reached out to me about a month ago and said, hey, do you want to come back out and do that theater again? And I messaged back and said, well, instead of just me coming down and headlining and trying this again, I asked if he would be open to me doing the Midlife Crisis comedy show at the theater. And he was more than happy to give it a try. So I am now, a year later, in the exact same situation to where I have a digital marketing guy that I've hired, and he is starting to produce ads for the Midlife Crisis comedy show down in Tucson. What's remarkable to me is we've already sold a few tickets, and we're about 2 months out. And it was nearly impossible for me to sell tickets in advance. So, it is, I'll tell you what a difference a year makes. So here I am, a year older, a year wiser, and really looking forward to how this next year will shape up of my life, where I'm really partnering up with my buddy Josh to create our combined 2-person show, which has just been so much fun, such a blast, such a dream come true. And we're able to promote and sell tickets, at least so far on a small scale, but we are looking to scale up and grow. So that is really what is exciting me about this next year, is that show growing, me continuing to grow as a stand-up comedian, develop my next hour of material. I want to get a very solid 1 hour, just non-stop, high energy, highly funny stand-up comedy routine, and really get that perfected. I feel the show I did Thursday night, which was absolutely one of the greatest shows I've ever been a part of as a stand-up comedian. Just top to bottom, the crowd, venue, the comics, it was revelatory. I just cannot remember the last time that I've had a stand-up comedy show go that well, including my own set. I can't remember the last time I've done 20 minutes of comedy that was that, I don't know, that just hit that hard. I mean, it was just unbelievable, especially given what I've been working on these last couple of months, where, I mean, everything that I did the other night, I wrote from scratch within the last 3 to 4 months, with one exception. My opening joke is an old tried and true joke that, I mean, it's literally like a 30-second kind of joke that I really just say to sort of get the audience on my side, but so incredible. So I am really looking at two major elements of moving forward into this next year. Number one is growing the midlife crisis comedy show with my buddy Josh and just seeing how big we can make that show. Can we get to a point to where we can tour the show and sell tickets in other states? We're actually already looking at that. So, we've had some success with shows in our own backyard in Tempe and Gilbert. We're going to expand a little bit and go down to Tucson and see how we do in Tucson. And then we are going to, we are looking at potentially heading over to like the Florida area, and maybe doing a couple of shows out there. And yeah, just seeing when and where can we sell tickets to our show. And it's just very exciting. It's very exciting. It's very humbling. So those are my two big goals for this next year. Get 1 hour of a solid headlining set of stand-up comedy, and then grow the Midlife Crisis comedy show. I probably need to be a little bit more specific. Honestly, I haven't thought about it in like specific terms. Like, I want to be able to sell X amount of tickets for X amount of shows. I should probably do something like that. I will do that once I get done with this recording, but I'll tell you, here I am, everybody. 43 years old. Still trying to figure life out. More I learn, the less I know. But I got to tell you, this last year has really brought some incredible experiences, incredible friends, newer relationships that have deepened, severing some relationships that had become, the word toxic is just so trite and overused. Just relationships where it became clear that we were not in alignment in terms of what we wanted out of the relationship. And that is okay. So everybody, whatever your dreams are, I tell you, go for them as best you can. That's my advice. Being on this journey, following this dream, pursuing it with as much passion, with as much intention and much resource and effort as my precious ego will allow, has just brought so many incredible people and relationships and experiences and opportunities into my life. And everything looks like it's on the up and up. And it's beautiful. It's a beautiful feeling, everybody. So I believe in all of you. Whatever your dreams are, whatever's in your heart, whatever it is you're striving for, I believe that that purpose is there for a reason. And the pursuit of that dream is where the fulfillment is. Not necessarily the getting of it, but the pursuit of it, and learning to find joy and fulfillment in the pursuit. And that's where I'm at, everybody. I guess we'll see if I still feel the same way in a year. So everybody, let's go. Let's get out there. Let's follow those dreams and make it happen. And I love you all so much. Thank you for listening. And although it's my birthday, this is not any sort of like milestone in terms of the length of the podcast around it, how many episodes I've done. We're 218 episodes in. My goal is 365 before I maybe regroup and retool and decide if I want to keep doing it daily, or if I maybe want to go down to weekly or a couple times a week, or if I decide I don't want to do it at all. I don't know. But I made a commitment to do this podcast daily for 365 days. And even doing this podcast has just brought incredible opportunities in my life. Even though my viewership is not huge, it's still a tremendous blessing. All right, everybody. I love you all so much. Keep going for those dreams. This is the Paul Green Comedy Podcast, June 28th, 2024, episode 218. I love you all so much, and I'll talk to you soon.